ejected from a WNBA game the other day for a flagrant foul on Sophie Cunningham? Did y'all see that? She got ejected from the game for that flagrant foul right there. And I'll be damned if that wasn't a flagrant too. She mugged her. Damn near came across like decapitating her, for crying out loud. That was definitely a hard foul. Make no mistake about it. Nobody can argue about it. You can say what you want. We know what we saw. No way around it. The DJonai Carrington foul was clearly unnecessary. It was a flagrant foul penalty too. It was absolutely positively correct call. It was called the flagrant two. That's a flagrant two every single damn time.
She drops her Crazy Energy colorway athlete-sponsored shoe. It's an Adidas shoe, and less than 1 hour online, it sells out in all sizes. She is very happy about that.
DJonai Carrington is on the brink of being dropped by Reebok, and let me tell you what, man, this is not good for DJonai Carrington at all. And then you have this going on as well. Thousands demand Reebok drop DJonai Carrington after brutal attack on Sophie Cunningham. Hold her accountable. I firmly support Reebok dropping DJonai Carrington's endorsement.
Sophie Cunningham's first signature shoe has officially sold out, and at this point, the reaction feels less like a shock and more like the latest milestone in what has become a remarkable season for her. Her profile has grown far beyond what people expected, and this sellout is another clear sign that her popularity is translating into serious attention off the court as well.
Cunningham is the new superstar because of something she said about boys not playing in girls' sports. In fact, what she said was boys should not play in girls' sports. And you can imagine what happened next. There was massive uproar from people who think that boys should be able to play in girls' sports. So Sophie Cunningham was asked about that, and she said, I said what I said. And when she said, I said what I said, guess what? There was even more of an uproar. Psych. People were all like, you go, girl. By the way, this is what she does when she sinks a three, which she does a lot, apparently. But that's not all. You know what else people did other than saying, you go, girl? They went out and bought her shoes. These are her like Adidas Sophie Cunningham pink shoes, and you could get a pair, except you can't get a pair. Why? Because they're sold out. People ran out or went online.
I have told you not to clothesline Sophie Cunningham from hell, because you want to know why? The backlash you're going to get from that decision will affect your pockets. And I'm so happy that these brands are now seeing what we've been seeing. A whole lot of BS going on from these players. And I'm telling you right now, more players need to lose brand deals. DJonai Carrington is looking around the room like, oh my God, I've never been in this much fire. I mean, it's getting so bad that now her endorsements are potentially about to pull out on representing.
Meanwhile, DJonai Carrington's story has been moving in almost the opposite direction. While Cunningham is benefiting from a surge in attention, Carrington has been dealing with growing criticism, questions surrounding her reputation, and the fallout from a single decision that continued to follow her long after the game ended. What makes the contrast so striking is that both players remain connected to the same controversial moment. One has seen the attention become part of a rapidly growing public profile, while the other is facing consequences that could extend well beyond one difficult week. Two players. Two dramatically different paths. And one incident that helped send both stories in opposite directions.
Says perfect. Good job, Reebok, for having a morals clause in her contract and enforcing it by pulling it. Carrington is a bully that the league apparently is protecting. Wake up, WNBA, before someone really gets hurt. You'll get sued because we Americans won't stand for this abuse.
I went to X and responded to Manuel Acho. He said, I never once claimed that the assessment of the foul was white privilege. That was your assumption. Try exercising your critical thinking skills. Know you studied psych. Furthermore, I'm the last thing from ignorant or asinine when it comes to speaking on white privilege. Do your research on that one. Actually went to school, one of the top universities, might I add, to educate myself on this exact subject. I would never use that term as a rhetorical weapon, knowing the historical and social weight it holds without having the proper evidence to substantiate it. So, in your face, Manuel. What I want to know is, then why were you posting white privilege in the locker room immediately after being ejected? What were you? Randomly sitting in the locker room having just been ejected, thinking about when you posted white privilege, and by the way, tagged the
most interesting part of this story isn't simply that one player is experiencing a surge while the other is dealing with backlash. It's how closely those two outcomes are connected. Cunningham's growing momentum didn't happen separately from Carrington's controversy, and Carrington's struggles didn't develop independently either. Both stories emerged from the same play, unfolded during the same week, and were amplified by the same news cycle. One moment created two very different narratives, with Cunningham gaining attention while Carrington found herself under increasingly intense scrutiny. That connection is what makes the contrast so unusual. The same incident that became a major setback for one player also helped create a new wave of visibility for the other.
Attention to what DJonai Carrington did to Sophie Cunningham. It was not a race-based decision, and to call that a white privilege-based foul is to completely undermine the term of white privilege and to also completely ignore the rules in basketball. You hit her in the head, you drew blood, you didn't connect with the ball at all whatsoever. So to me, it was just very ignorant and to some degree asinine by DJonai Carrington to suggest that that call was based on white privilege. Have we seen examples of white players make that same foul and get away with it? Yes. Have we seen examples of black players make that same foul and get away with it? Yes. There was no white privilege involved in that specific call. DJonai, you hit her in the head and you drew
Carrington's feet. She got traded, signed a Reebok, and now all of a sudden, she getting the craziest PEs in the league. Sorry, Asia. Or maybe I'm not. We still got beef. We gotta get that closer look. What is that, cow print? She no Doja Cat? Nah, that's gas. That right there is hard. Oh yeah, I'm loving this. The pink laces, the pink hit on the bottom. This is a 10 out of 10 right here. It's gotta be. I love what's going on here. Reebok, release these. Not releasing these.
People are, getting behind this thing, and DJonai Carrington is on the brink of potentially losing millions of dollars with sponsorship. Here it says breaking thousands of people are calling Reebok to drop. This thing is everywhere, man. This thing is everywhere. So DJonai Carrington, man, on the brink of losing it all, and you just did too much. I mean, a flagrant foul.
Let's start with the positive side, because Cunningham's momentum has been hard to miss. Her Adidas Crazy Energy PE reportedly launched around the $110 to $120 range, depending on the retailer, and the initial inventory on Adidas.com moved remarkably quickly. Within roughly an hour, many of the available sizes had already disappeared. Dick's Sporting Goods and Hibbett reportedly had additional pairs for shoppers who missed the first release, but that extra inventory also moved quickly. For a player-exclusive sneaker, that kind of immediate demand is a significant signal that IT suggests Cunningham's appeal is extending beyond a basketball court. This wasn't simply a small group of dedicated fans buying a pair because they support the fever. The speed of the sellout showed that there was genuine consumer interest surrounding the release, and Adidas was able to see that demand almost immediately.
Tossed from the game, but says it wasn't about the foul. Can you explain this?
No, I can't. When she tweeted white privilege, she did it so quickly, it was almost as though she had the phone in her pocket after this foul and she got ejected. So, I mean, to say she wasn't referring to this play or getting kicked out and saying that the only reason she got kicked out and it got upgraded is because Sophie Cunningham is white is crazy. It was a crazy thing to tweet, maybe crazier than to try to act like it had nothing to do with the play. So I have no idea what she's talking about. I don't think anybody can have any idea what she's talking about.
Gave her a Batman special. What are we talking about? This is what I mean, right, bro? Y'all have turned the WNBA into the softest, most political, race-baiting league in the world. You got women now having meetings about what does it mean to be a woman. This is why people like watching women's college basketball more than the WNBA. We're constantly seeing the Indiana Fever be targeted by other WNBA players because you guys have made the atmosphere comfortable enough to where they think they can do that. This is like when Angel Reese and her team lied about people making monkey noises at her at the basketball game. Basketball is a physical sport. Things happen. But we're not gonna start screaming white privilege because you get caught in 4K. I swear, I don't think any other female sport goes through as much drama as the WNBA. It's like bad girls.
And the demand didn't disappear once the retail stock was gone. Pairs that originally sold for around $110 began appearing on resale platforms at prices approaching $270, with some reportedly finding buyers at those elevated prices rather than simply sitting there as listings. That kind of jump suggests the interest went beyond the usual group of loyal Fever supporters. The sneaker community itself appeared to be paying attention, treating Cunningham's release more like a limited edition drop from an established name than the debut of a relatively new player-exclusive shoe. Adidas also seemed to recognize the momentum. The brand continued amplifying fan posts and sharing content surrounding the release across its social platforms, effectively turning the initial sellout into another opportunity to build Cunningham's profile. In other words, the shoe wasn't just selling, it was creating its own conversation, and that is exactly the kind of organic attention brands hope to generate from a player partnership.
Reportedly dropping their endorsement for DJonai Carrington after she attacked Sophie Cunningham. Let's go. Oh my God, it's getting real. It is getting very much real for in the field, for them pockets. That's what I like to see. Pockets getting hit hard, bro. Hard. Because somebody need to hold these players accountable for the stupidity they have been putting out. Because it has been a lot of stupidity. And to add even more insult to injury, thousands of people are calling for Reebok to drop their endorsement for DJonai Carrington after she attacked Sophie Cunningham.
This is where the two storylines collide. Cunningham's Adidas momentum did not develop separately from the controversy that surrounded her just days earlier. Before the sneaker became a major talking point, Cunningham was at the center of the incident that sparked the entire debate. During a fast break opportunity, Carrington came from behind and made forceful contact with Cunningham around the face and neck area. After reviewing the play, officials upgraded the ruling to a flagrant 2, triggering an automatic ejection. Cunningham went down hard and was visibly bleeding and upset when she got back to her feet. That single sequence became the starting point for everything that followed: the social media reaction, the arguments over intent and player safety, and the intense attention surrounding both players. So while Cunningham's sneaker success stands on its own as a sign of her growing popularity, the timing is impossible to ignore. The same week that produced Carrington's controversy also placed Cunningham under an enormous spotlight, and that attention helped create the environment in which her off-court momentum took another major step forward.
Since there's wind-up, impact, and follow-through, high potential for injury, players in a vulnerable position.
I mean, that's an obvious call. And anyone who has watched this league and any other prior flagrants would tell you as soon as they saw one replay of that, that was going to be a
But the ejection itself was not what kept the story alive. Almost immediately after leaving the court, Carrington took the controversy to social media with a 2-word post: white privilege. While tagging the Indiana Fever, the message appeared without any immediate explanation, leaving the audience to determine what she meant based entirely on the timing and circumstances. Coming right after the foul and involving Cunningham and Indiana, the post was almost guaranteed to trigger a much bigger conversation. That decision became the turning point. The original foul could have remained a controversial basketball moment that fans debated for a few days before moving on. Instead, the post transformed it into a broader argument about race, officiating, intent, and accountability. Whatever Carrington intended when she wrote those words, the social media decision gave the incident a much longer lifespan. From that point forward, the discussion was no longer centered solely on the foul. It became a story about the message that followed it and the consequences of putting that message into the public conversation.
Where this thing gets absolutely bananas is when you start making it into a race and culture war, and the people talking about it are not mentioning 99% of the time that she went back and tweeted white privilege. White privilege how? You made a dirty play. Sophie Cunningham, everyone's putting up clips of her like tackling a player on a drive, defending Caitlin. You say, well, she got kicked out of the game for that too. Who commits a clear flagrant 2 and then tweets white privilege right after she goes to the locker room. You can't then cry that this is being talked about in racial terms in a culture. She started that. This is a basketball play. The second you go white privilege, and they are talking about it on these telecasts without mentioning what she tweeted. Oh, they're turning into a culture war, turning into a race war. This is our league. Don't let conservatives or the right hijack it. Your player tweeted white privilege.
Emmanuel Aiko refused to let the controversy pass without addressing it. On his show, he challenged the idea that the flagrant 2 decision had anything to do with race, arguing that the officials had a straightforward basketball reason for upgrading the foul. The contact was high, Cunningham was struck around the head, and the play carried a serious risk of injury. Aiko also pointed out that physical fouls happen throughout the league involving players from every background, and the determining factor should be the nature of the contact, not the identities of the players involved. From his perspective, the phrase Carrington used turned a basketball decision into a much larger accusation without enough context to support it. That he described the post as ignorant and asinine, making it clear that he strongly disagreed with the message and how it was delivered. Whether viewers agreed with Aiko's tone or not, His comments captured just how far the controversy had moved beyond the original foul. By that point, the debate was no longer simply about a flagrant 2. It had become a much broader argument over race, intent, officiating, and the responsibility that comes with making a public accusation in the middle of an already heated situation.